How y'all doing, y'all? Let's be transparent for a minute and think about this question. Just think about this question. What if the reason some of us struggle after God brings us out isn't because he didn't deliver us, but because we didn't let it change us? What if? And there's something deeper going on in these chapters. The further along you go, the further along you go. And if you rush past it, you'll miss what God is really showing. Now, this isn't just about God bringing them out of Egypt, y'all. It's about what he requires after he brings you out. The Lord told Moses to sanctify all the firstborn. Now, that means to set them apart and dedicate the children to him. The firstborns, they represented strength, future, and inheritance. So when God said, "It is mine," he was saying that he redeemed it. He saved it and it belongs to him, both man and beast. Now, right there, God introduces the principle of giving him what comes first, not what's left. And when you really think about it, this also points forward because later on, God gives his only begotten son as the sacrifice to redeem me and you, to redeem us. Then Moses, he tells the people to remember this day, the day that God brought you out of bondage. This wasn't meant to be something that they celebrated once, but something they were supposed to carry with them daily, y'all. They were commanded to eat unleavened bread for 7 days. And y'all remember, leavened is like a yeast for bread, and it represented sin, corruption, and influence that spreads quietly. Removing it symbolizes the old life being left behind completely in Egypt. Now, deliverance isn't something you celebrate once. It's something you live out daily. Some of us be forgetting that. Then it shows the son in that day. That means this wasn't meant to stay with them, y'all. It was meant to be passed down. Their testimony would become someone else's understanding of God. What God did for them was supposed to be something the next generation could clearly see to understand God. That's the same with me and you. Our testimony is meant to be told. It don't matter how many people get upset from continuing to hear it. Tell your testimony. People will find God in your testimony. Your testimony will be someone else's deliverance. Now, when it talks about a sign on their hand and a memorial between their eyes, it goes deeper than what it sounds. Their hands represent their actions and their minds represents their thinking, y'all. God was showing them that his deliverance should affect how they think and how they live. It wasn't supposed to be something they only talk about. It's supposed to show up in their life, in their daily walking. Then it goes on to explain that the firstborn had to be redeemed. Like I said earlier, even animals were included. Clean ones were sanctified, y'all, or not sanctified, but sacrificed. But unclean ones had to be redeemed or they would die. An example of that is a donkey had to be redeemed with a lamb or it wouldn't survive. And that points to us. We were unclean and Jesus, the lamb, was sacrificed so we could be redeemed instead of being destroyed. He's the lamb who took away all the sin of the world. So when people ask, what is this? The answer always points back to God. The Lord is the one who brought them out. Their explanation wasn't supposed to highlight themselves. It was supposed to point back to him. The same with our testimony. It's not self-gratification. God did it all. God leads them. And this part matters, y'all, because he didn't take them the shortest way to freedom. He didn't. He knew that if they saw war too soon, they would turn back and go towards Egypt. So he led them the longer way through the wilderness toward the Red Sea. Now, everything God does is intentional. Y'all ever heard he's a sovereign God? Yes, he is. What feels like delay can actually be protection, and what feels like the harder path can actually be preparation. It's so beautiful, y'all. And if we honest, this is where many of us struggle. We pray for God to move, but then when he doesn't, the way we expect it or in the time and we want it, we start questioning him. We don't realize that the very thing we're frustrated about might be the thing keeping us from going back. Now, the Israelites, they went out with a high hand. Now, a high hand means that it wasn't quiet or hidden. Their escape was visible, undeniable, and powerful. God didn't sneak them out. He brought them out in a way that showed his hand was on them. Come on now, y'all. Then Moses, he takes the bones of Joseph, y'all. Joseph believed God would bring them out into the promised land. He didn't see it in his lifetime, but he trusted it anyway. And y'all remember, he was buried above ground so his bones could be taken out of Egypt. I'm going to say it again. Even though Joseph didn't see that in his lifetime, y'all, he still trusted it anyway. That kind of faith makes you ask if you trust God enough to believe him for something you may not personally see. Now, God leads them with a pillar of cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night. He didn't just give them directions, y'all. He gave them presence so they would follow him. Now, don't miss this, because this next part shows how God works when it looks like you're being trapped. God tells them where to go, and it leads them into what looks like a vulnerable position. The sea is in front of them, and is mountains all around them, y'all. And then they know that Pharaoh is coming behind them. Now, Pharaoh, he gathers everything he has, including his chariots, soldiers, and leadership, and he comes after them because they want their slaves back. The people panic, which are the Israelites. They cried out and said, it would have been better if we stayed back in bondage. And if we've been honest, we do the same thing. We do. God brings us out of something, and the moment pressure shows up, inconvenience hits, or things don't go the way we plan, we start talking like what we left wasn't that bad. We start romanticizing what almost destroyed us just because what's in front of us feels uncomfortable. That response reveals something. When pressure shows up, people will question the very thing God just delivered them from. Soon as it shows up, and everything they cried and begged to get delivered from seems sweet now. But it wasn't a trap, y'all. It was a setup. God knew what he was doing. Moses tells them not to be afraid and to stand still and watch what God is about to do. He tells them that the Lord will fight for them and they won't have to. That's difficult, y'all, because our natural response is to react, fix, or run. God was showing them that some battles are not meant for you to fight. They're meant for you to be a witness to. Then God shifts it and tells Moses to move forward, move the people forward. There's a time to pray and there's a time to act on what God already said. Now, the pillar that was in front of them, it moved in back of them, y'all, because it became light towards Israel, but darkness to Egypt. It's the same presence, but it produces a different experience for the Israelites and the Egyptians. And the sea, it doesn't open instantly, y'all. God uses a strong wind through the night and the ground becomes dry. I'm talking about bone dry. The Israelites walk through with walls of water on their left and on their right. I'm talking about in between the sea. It's like walking through something that should have taken you out, but instead it holds you back long enough for you to make it through. The very thing that had the power to destroy you becomes the path God uses to deliver you. That's what he did for the Israelites. Now, the Egyptians, they chase after them, but everything changes. And what used to be fast becomes slow. What used to work stops working, and confusion sets in. They even recognize that God is fighting for the Israelites and going against them. Then the waters, they return. Everything that was chasing them is wiped out. Nobody was left. They see the Egyptian bodies just floating in the water. But Israel, they keep walking, y'all. They're still covered and they're still protected. Then they begin to sing a song. They're not singing about themselves. They're singing about what God did. Real worship comes from what you have experienced, not just what you heard. Some things just come from the heart and it just comes out naturally. Then just 3 days earlier, or not earlier, later, y'all, they have no water and they start complaining again. Y'all see the pattern showing up? 3 days after seeing the split sea and watching God destroy what was chasing them, something as basic as water caused them to question everything. That's a shame. And if we're honest, it doesn't take much for us to do that either. One bad day, one delay, or one inconvenience can make us forget everything God has already done for us. We just start complaining about every little thing. And that shows you something. If your heart doesn't change, miracles won't sustain your faith. It won't. They come to, the Israelites, they came to bitter water, y'all. And God makes it sweet. It's almost like he is asking if you will still trust in him when things don't feel right. All they had to do is just be still. Moses even told them that. It's easy to trust God when everything is going well. Real faith shows up when something feels off, when it doesn't make sense, and when it doesn't meet your expectations. That's what it is to find out if your faith is real or if it's only based on good moments. Moving on, then God calls for intentional and consistent obedience. He's not asking for a part of them. He's asking for all of them. Then they arrive at a place with water and they rest. After bitterness comes provision. After testing comes rest. So when you step back and look at all of this, you see the full picture. God will bring you out, but that doesn't mean you fully came out. The real question is this: did you leave Egypt, or is Egypt still in you?